Hello everyone, I am Durga Saujanya, Assistant Professor from ECE Department, MLR Institute of Technology. I am going to give the video session on the subject Embedded System Design. Our today's video session topic is Characteristics of Embedded System and Quality Attributes of Embedded System. So in today's session, we have discussed about characteristics of embedded systems and quality attributes of embedded system. In today's video session, first, we have to discuss the summary of previous session, characteristics of embedded system, quality attributes of embedded system, operational quality attributes, and non-operational quality attributes. Here, first, we need to discuss about the summary of previous session. In the previous session, we have discussed the design process of embedded system design. So, what are the various steps involved in design process? So, first, we need to take the requirements. After that, we need to prepare the specifications. After that, we need to draw the architectural design. So next, after architectural design, we need to take the hardware components and software components which are required for that design. And after that, after preparing all the hardware and software components, we need to assemble that. And finally, we need to integrate the hardware and software components. And after that, we need to test and release in the market. So those are the steps involved in the design process of embedded system design, so which we have discussed in the previous session. So now we are going to the today's session, which is characteristics of embedded system. So here we know that every system or every object has its own characteristics. So that means that system does have the characteristics which are unique, and here there are a set of characteristics for the embedded system for describing the system. So in the set of characteristics, here one set of characteristics will be used for describing the system and another set of characteristics will be used for describing the behavior of the system. So whenever we have to design the system, we need to take consideration of all the functional and non-functional aspects. So here the functional aspects are nothing but the characteristics which are used to describe the system, and non-functional aspects are nothing but the characteristics which are used for describing the behavior of the system. Here, the description of the system and the behavior of the system are different. So, for example, let's take an example of bike and bicycle. So, here both are intended for the function of service, which is transport. Here both bicycle and bike, so both are used for transporting purpose. So that is used for describing the system. So that means both the systems are described for transport service. But while going to the behavior of the system, here bicycle will go for 1 kilometer for 30 minutes and the bike will go 1 kilometer for 5 minutes. So here the time taken for the transport service offered by these two systems will be different. So those described the behavior of the system. So here in this example, the functional aspects are the transport service and non-functional aspects are the behavior of the system. So that is nothing but the time taken for that service. So the characteristics of an embedded system are used for representing the functional aspects of the embedded system, whereas attributes, quality attributes of the embedded system are used to describe the non-functional aspects of the embedded system. So the important characteristics of embedded system are the application and domain specific, reactive and real time. It operates in harsh environment, distributed, small size and weight, power concern, single function, complex functionality, tightly constrained, safety critical. So let's go in detail about the characteristics of embedded systems. So the first characteristic is application and domain specific. So as we have already discussed in the definition of embedded system, that the embedded system is designed for application specific. So that means the embedded systems which are developed in such a manner to do for only in intended functions only. So they are not used for any other purpose. For which they are intended, only used for that purpose only. They are not intended for any other purpose. So here we need to distinguish the general purpose system with the embedded system with this criteria. The general purpose systems are designed for operating for any purpose, but the embedded systems are designed for application specific or domain specific for that intended functions. Here, for example, the embedded control unit of a microwave oven cannot be replaced with the embedded control unit of air conditioner, because the embedded control unit of microwave oven is designed for heating application, but the embedded control unit of air conditioner is designed for cooling application. So both applications are different. So both are comes under embedded systems, but both are designed for different applications, so that the embedded control unit of one application cannot be used for another application. So that means we can design that systems particularly for a specific application. And while going to the another example, which is if we have designed an embedded system for a telecom domain, so it cannot be used for the domain like consumer electronics. So the embedded control units which are designed for a specific domain are different. So the control units which are designed for one domain will not be used for the embedded control units of another domain. So we cannot replace the embedded control unit developed for a particular domain like telecom with another control unit designed to serve another domain like consumer electronics. So this is about the application and domain specific characteristics. So the embedded system which is designed, that should be application specific and domain specific. The second characteristic is reactive and real time. So as we have discussed already in the design process and in the purpose of embedded systems. So the embedded systems are designed for work in the real time environment. So that means those are having constant interaction with the real world. So that means any changes in the real world can be captured by the sensors used in that system, and the control algorithm running inside the unit reacts in a designed manner to bring the control output variables to the desired level. So that means whenever the input is captured by the sensor used by the design of embedded system, so it can be reacted immediately. So that means for example in the cars we have designed the airbag system. So whenever any accident or anything happens to the car, so the sensors which are used in this airbag will detect that immediately the airbag will be opened. So that means the reaction of the system will be in an immediate manner. So that is called as reactive response. And what about real time? So here the embedded systems produce changes in output in response to the changes in input. So that is called as reactive nature of the embedded systems. And real time operation is nothing but the timing behavior of the system should be deterministic. So that means the response of the system should be within the time period designed by that system. So that means the system should respond to the request in a known amount of time. So the example is mission critical like flight control system, anti-lock brake system or the real-time systems. So here in the flight control system, so we need to apply the anti-lock brake system in the prescribed time only. So it will not be the delayed. See, if it is delayed, the accidents will happen. So that means that process will be executed within the given amount of time. So this is about the reactive and real-time characteristic of the embedded system. Next one is the system which is designed for an embedded system. It should be operates in harsh environment. So that is nothing but we need to use that system in the operating conditions of the area where we want to implement the system. So the operating conditions or the environment conditions will be different of the system which is designed and which is implemented. So we have to design our systems in our place. But if we want to use those systems in harsh environment like having high temperature zone or low temperature zone, or it should be having very high shock area, it is subjected to high shock area. So like that for different environments, So it should be suitable. So we need to design the embedded system which should be suitable for any environment and should be operable for any harsh environment also. So the design of embedded system should take care of the operating conditions of the area where the system is going to implement. So if the system needs to be deployed in a high temperature zone, then the components which are used in that system should be capable for having the ability of taking that high temperature grade. So the proper shock absorption technique should be provided to the systems which are going to be commissioned in places to high shock. So we need to take care for designing the system depending on the environmental conditions where we want to implement that system. So the next characteristic is distributed. So distributed means each embedded system will not be a single module. So here in some systems we need to have so many modules and we need to integrate all the modules into one system. So here many number of such distributed embedded systems form a single large embedded control unit. So that means the embedded systems may be the part of a larger system. For example, automatic vending machine. Here it contains the card reader which is used for sensing the amount in our card and the vending unit, so which is used for providing the chocolates or whatever the component used in that automatic vending machine. So each of them are independent embedded units. So each of them are designed independently and all are together to perform the overall vending function. So this is the operates in harsh environment characteristic and distributed characteristic. So the next one is the small size and weight. So we need to design the system with having the less weight and small size because every consumer needs to be having the different look for the system design. So which is different from the other competitors. So that we need to maintain the size should be very less and weight should be very light and in a proper shape, style, etc. So these are all important factors for choosing a product for the customer. So the comparative study on the pros and cons of product with these terms will be useful in the design of embedded system. So it is convenient to handle the compact device than a bulky product. So that every consumer needs to have the small size embedded systems. So the next characteristic is power concerns. The power management is another important factor that needs to be considered in designing the embedded systems. So that means here we need to use some management techniques which are used for having the heat dissipation techniques and to minimize the heat dissipation developed by the system and any power requirement, reduced power consumption techniques if any required. So we need to take considering all these factors while designing the embedded system. The next characteristics are the single function characteristic. So which is nothing but in the definition itself we know that it is intended for a specific function. So that means it is intended for a single function. The complex functionality. So that means we need to implement a multiple algorithms in some applications of embedded systems. So that means we need to include some more features or extra features in the existing systems. So that is nothing but complex functionality. We need to have the ability to design complex functionality with multiple algorithms in an embedded system. The tightly constrained. Tightly constrained means we have to follow strictly the constraints used for the design of the embedded system like low cost, low power, small size and having the fast response in the systems. The safety critical. Safety critical means it must not endanger the human life and the environment. We need to design the system which is not occurring any damage or any endanger for the human life and environment. So these are the characteristics of embedded systems. So next we will go to the quality attributes of embedded systems. So what is meant by quality attributes? So the non-functional aspects of the embedded systems which are used for describing the behavior of the embedded system are called non-functional aspects. So here these are called as quality attributes. These quality attributes are classified into two types. One is operational quality attributes and non-operational quality attributes. So let's go with operational quality attributes. So the operational quality attributes represents the relevant quality attributes related to embedded system when it is in the operational mode or online mode. So here these are the non-functional aspects but are to be considered for designing the embedded system. So like response, throughput, reliability, maintainability, security and safety. So let's go in detail about these. So the first one is response. Response is nothing but how fast the system will be responded for the given input. So it is the measure of quickness of the system. How fast the system is tracking the changes in the input variables. If any change occurred in the input variables, how fast the system will be responded for that input variable change. So that is called as response. So most of the embedded system demands fast response for real-time applications. So in real-time applications, we need to maintain the fast response, then only that system will exhibited perfectly. So the second operational quality attribute is throughput. Throughput is nothing but it defines the efficiency of the system. So that means the rate of production or the operation of a defined process is for a given period of time is known as throughput. So that means how efficiently the system will be worked for the given period of time. So it is called as throughput. So it can be expressed in terms of products, batches produced or any other measurements. So that means in case of the card reader, the throughput means how many transactions the reader can be performed within the specified time. So just like a minute or an hour or a day. So it is generally measured in terms of benchmark. It is the reference point by which we can measure the efficiency of the system. Next one is reliability. Reliability means how the output will be relay upon the input of the system. So how much we can rely upon the proper functioning of the system. So how much our system will be relayed on the proper functioning. So it is called as reliability. So here we need to define how many failures occurred and within the frequency of time. So how many times the failure occurs and how many times it will be succeeded within the given time, how much time it will take for reoperable. So like that these are considered for reliability. So it is a measure of how much we can rely upon the proper functioning of the system. So here there are two parameters to be considered for measuring the reliability. Mean time between failures, which is MTBF, and it gives the frequency of failures in hours, weeks or months. So it should be very less means the system will be more reliable. So that means the frequency of failures will be very more. So that means if the frequency of failures will be very more, then we said that the system will be more reliable. If frequently the failures will be occurred means the system is not reliable. So the MTTR, which is mean time to repair. So how long the system is allowed to be out of order following a failure. So after the failure, how much time it take to repair that system and take it into the operating mode. So that defines the reliability of the system. So next one is maintainability. So maintainability means it will deals with the support and maintenance to the end user or client in case of technical issues and product failure or on the basis of routine system checkup. So we need to maintain and we need to test for a regular intervals of time for checking the technical issues or product failure or in any problems occurred in the systems. So it is the maintenance to the end user or client. So these are complementary to each other. So if reliability is more means we does not have the maintainability. So that means the maintainability will be less when the reliability is more. So when the reliability is less, the maintainability will be more. So these are complementary to each other. A more reliable system means with less corrective maintainability requires and vice versa. Here the maintainability will be done in two ways. One is it will be scheduled for a periodic maintenance or it will be having the corrective maintenance for unexpected failures. So if there is no unexpected failures, then we will do the maintenance for a periodic maintenance. So that means we need to schedule for a regular intervals of time. So if any unexpected failure occurs, we need to take the corrective maintenance. The next one is security. So security means here we need to protect our information which is used in that embedded system. So here there are three terms are there, which is confidentiality, integrity availability. These three are used for defining the information security of embedded systems. So confidentiality means how protect our data and application from unauthorized disclosure. So we need to maintain our privacy data to be private and it will not be endangered to others. So we need to maintain protection of data which is privacy data without having any unauthorized disclosure. So integrity means it deals with the protection of data and application from unauthorized modification. So whatever the system we have designed, so that should be maintaining the same application till the end. So no one will be used for doing any unauthorized modification. So availability deals with the protection of data and application from unauthorized users. So we need to protect our data and our application without having any unauthorized users. So this is about the security of the embedded systems. And next one is safety. Safety deals with possible damages that can happen to the operator, public, environment due to breakdown of any embedded system. If in any case, if the embedded system is failed or breakdown occurs, so it will not cause any damage to the humans or operators or public or environment. So we need to maintain certain safety measures for our systems. So the breakdown of embedded system may occur due to hardware failure or firmware failure. So the safety analysis is must and should for product engineering to evaluate the anticipated damages and determine the best course of action to bring down the consequences of damage to the accepted level. So these are the operational quality attributes. And the next one is non-operational quality attributes. So non-operational quality attributes means these are not comes into operation, but we need to consider these terms for getting the better performance of the embedded system. So the quality attributes that need to be addressed for the product, but not on the basis of operational aspects. So these are comes under the non-operational quality attributes. The first one is testability and debuggability, evolvability, portability, time to prototype and market, per unit cost and revenue. So let us go in detail about all these. The first one is testability and debuggability. So here the testability deals with how easily one can test the design and the application, and by which means it can be done. So what are the different processes involved in testing? So how can we test our system? So how can we test our system in the hardware level and in the software level? So these are all will be considered for the testability. So it is applicable to both hardware and firmware. So hardware testing means it should ensure that all the peripherals and the hardware functions which are used in that design should be working perfectly or not. And firmware testing, that it ensures the firmware is functioning in the expected way or not. So we need to test both hardware modules and software modules. So debuggability means debugging the product from unexpected behavior of the system. So after testing individually the hardware and software modules, we need to go for debug process. So that means here we are importing the software into the hardware components and we need to use different test cases for getting the unexpected behavior of the system for different test cases. If in any test case, if we are getting any unexpected behavior in the system, then we need to debug the product and we need to modify that and we need to check again. After that only we need to confirm that the final product will be completed. So the debug ability will be in two-level process. First we need to check in the hardware level and next we need to check in the software level. So if there any issues are there in the hardware modules, we need to check, and if there any errors are created by the program used in the software level. So we need to test in the hardware level and software level. So then only we will confirm that the product is completely tested. The second one is evolvability. Evolvability is nothing but it is closely related to biology and it is known as non-heritable variation. So this is nothing but evolvability is nothing but the ease with which the embedded product can be modified to take the advantage of new firmware or hardware technologies. So that means for already existing embedded system, so if we want to add any features or if we want to add any hardware modules or any software features, so then we can easily add our hardware and software modules to our embedded system when evolvability is included in the design of the embedded system. So the portability is nothing but it should be easily portable to any environment. So that means it is used for system independence. It should be portable if the product is capable of functioning in various environments, target processors and embedded operating systems. So whatever the system we have designed, if it should be operable in different environments and in different test cases and for be used for different target processors, then we said that the system have the portability. So it represents the migration of embedded firmware written for one target processor to a different target processor. So that means even though we are writing the software or firmware of the embedded system for one processor, if it can be used for another target processor also, then we can say that that system maintains the portability. So next, time to prototype and market. So it is the time elapsed between the conceptualization of the product and the time at which the product is ready for selling. So that means after designing the architectural design and after selecting the hardware and software components and after finalizing our product design. So the time between finalization of the product and the product released into the market. So the time gap between these two is called as time to prototype. So we need to consider all the factors which are used for another competitive producer of that product, and here the commercial embedded product market is highly competitive and time to market the product is very critical factor for getting the success of commercial embedded product. And here there may be multiple players in the embedded industry who develop products of the same category. If we are having so many different developers for the products, so then we need to use the correct time for releasing into the market. So that should be very critical factor for getting the success of that product. Per unit cost and revenue. So cost is the factor which is closely monitored by both end user and the product manufacturer. So here it is highly sensitive factor for commercial products. So any failure to position the cost of commercial product at a nominal rate may lead to the failure of the product. So if any failure to the position the cost of the commercial product at a nominal rate, so with the competitors we need to maintain the cost of the embedded system. So then only it will be success in the market. Otherwise the failure of the product in the market will occur. So the proper market study and cost benefit analysis should be carried out before taking a decision about the per unit cost of the product. The ultimate aim of the product is to generate the marginal profit so that the budget and the total cost should be properly balanced to provide a marginal profit. So we need to consider these factors for deciding the per unit cost. Then only we will generate the marginal profit so that the budget cannot be exceeded with the product and the total cost should be properly balanced to have the marginal profit. So these are the non-operational quality attributes. So next, conclusion. So here we have already discussed that. So in today's session we have discussed what are the characteristics of the embedded systems and what are the quality attributes of the embedded systems. Characteristics of the embedded systems are nothing but the functional aspects which are used for designing the embedded system. So that describes the system are called as characteristics of the embedded system. The non-functional aspects which are used for describing the behavior of the system are called as quality attributes. In these quality attributes there are two types. One is operational quality attributes, another one is non-operational quality attributes. So these are the topics which are discussed in the today's session. Thank you.